What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? It's your guy Q, the movie collector here again, back with another 4K video review. And on today's video, you can kind of see the big clue here. It's no big surprise. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about James Gunn's Superman. As you guys can see here, I've got the lenticular cover. And yeah, so Superman. Let's begin with the elephant in the room. So James Gunn, he's coming off of his success from Suicide Squad as well as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Both really great movies. I'm a huge fan of James Gunn, but the way he went through and did a complete number on the entire DC studios in the universe that they were ongoing at the time, that took balls. And I'm a kind of person that enjoyed the Zack Snyder universe of DC movies, but I knew that it had run its course. I mean, I'm a fan of Keaton through and through, and that was one of the main reasons why I really enjoyed The Flash. But not a lot of people enjoyed The Flash because, you know, all the controversy and all the other stuff. But yeah, so it really needed to end. And so he started doing a number with getting rid of the actors and actresses that played a lot of these DC heroes. And one of the things that he did was get rid of Henry Cavill is playing as Superman, which it angered a lot of people. I'm not going to lie to you. I was probably a little angry with it myself. But I trusted James Gunn. Seeing what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy movies made me a believer. I'm not going to lie to you. It made me a believer. And his movies are truly enjoyable. So when he got started on this project, he went on and he hired David, how you pronounce his name? David Corenswet to play as the new Superman. Looks very believable. And he went and got Rachel, I can't pronounce her last name, Brosnan. I know I'm butchering the heck out of this. That's one thing I will say about this movie. This movie is filled with a lot of actors and actresses that have weird names, except for Nathan Fillion. That's the only one that has like a decent name. But anywho, she plays as Lois Lane. And it really took me back to Margot Kidder's Lois Lane a little bit in this movie. And I'll get to that a little later. And then you also have Nicholas Hoult playing as the infamous Lex Luthor. Can't get any better than that. I actually liked him as Lex Luthor in this movie. So anywho, the movie starts off just like if you guys have seen the first few trailers. Starts off with Superman getting nailed into the snow, and he's just laying there. He's beaten up, and he whistles, and Crypto comes to the rescue, grabs his cape, drags him over to the Fortress of Solitude, so that way he could get his powers back or whatnot. And I kind of like that they kind of start off with Superman being Superman. They don't do like an origin backstory or any of that because, to be honest, we all know the story of Superman. I'm not going to go into the whole origin story. If you don't know, look it up. But yeah, from that standpoint, you know, he goes and gets healed. He goes right back into action, fighting off this superpowered, I think it was like a Russian suit guy. He starts fighting him. And then he leaves, and then he gets himself, because at this point also as well, him and Lois have already developed a relationship where she clearly knows Clark Kent is Superman. They've gotten that close already. And she goes in to interview him, and I think this is one of the most interesting scenes in the entire movie because it's probably the most dialogue-driven scene in the movie, but it's interesting. They go from being lovey-dovey to where he says, "I'm okay with you interviewing me as Superman." and they ensue like a little argument, a little back and forth. And I just thought that was really interesting. But in the heart of this movie, there's like a conflict among countries, and Superman is kind of like in the middle of it, to where his actions are being used to look at as, this is what the United States is doing, when the United States is kind of like, no, Superman doesn't represent us. And he's just doing what he feels is right. Um, so then Lex Luthor, he's tying all this stuff up. I mean, I'm telling you, Nicholas Hoult, he did such a great job as Lex Luthor. Um, and to me, it just seemed very much so like the comic book version of Lex Luthor. But yeah, he's bad to the bone. He's already planting his seeds on how he's gonna basically frame Superman, and he's already studied so much up on Superman to where he thinks he knows how to kill him. Sorry about the beeping there, people. But he goes through and he figures out how to kill him. But so then Lex Luthor starts planting all these little distractions, and he ends up planting this kaiju monster that attacks Metropolis and all of that. And then that's when you get to meet, what do they call it? The Justice Gang, which is filled with Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, and Green Lantern, which the two most memorable characters in that gang is Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern and Eddie. I forgot. I want to say his last name because I'll butcher it. Him playing as Mr. Terrific. I would say Mr. Terrific is like the biggest unsung hero in this whole movie. But that's all I'll dive into details about. I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie. I've said enough already. As you can tell by my reaction, I really enjoyed Superman. I know this movie got a lot of mixed reviews on what people actually thought of this film. And I will tell you this from my personal opinion. This is a true comic book movie. And to me, how I've always watched superhero films, especially superhero films based off comic books, I honestly feel like that you shouldn't take them too seriously, especially with this one. You shouldn't take it too seriously. A lot of people complained about the CGI, just doing too much CGI and all this stuff. I thought the CGI looked fantastic for a comic book movie. It's a comic book movie. It's bringing the comic to life. It's a comic movie. It's meant to look a little crazy and odd, you know. But yeah, so the one thing Warner Brothers did with this release, which I will say honestly, a lot of the other studios should really look at Warner, especially when it comes to newer films. They should really look at Warner Brothers as kind of like the standard for setting the standard for special features. Nowadays, and I know people won't admit it, a lot of people flock to boutique labels because they overstuff them with special features. Studio labels don't typically do that, but Warner in the past year, I can honestly say they've been doing a fantastic job of that, and they did this with this release of Superman. So what you get is you get this long documentary, and I won't even say documentary. It seemed like a documentary style. I'll say documentary style. And it's called Adventures in the Making of Superman. That whole featurette starts from the very beginning when James Gunn gets hired on to do this movie to when they film or shot the very last shot of the movie. You go through all of it and you get everyone, all the actors and actresses talking about their role in the film and talking about their upcoming scenes they're doing on a particular day. It was a fantastic featurette. I didn't get through the rest of them, which that really speaks volumes to how overpacked this is. It even says it here on the back. You can see it there. 90 minutes of bonus features. You see that? I mean, they really give you a lot of great material, but I didn't watch the rest of it. You've got Lex Luthor, the mind of a master villain, the Justice Gang, Pause to Pixels, Crypto is Born, and Animated Crypto Short, and more. So yeah, I was flipping through it, man. They just wouldn't stop. It's got a lot of special features for this release. So I would say, yeah, absolute win from Warner Brothers on their part for really overstuffing this with special features. Now, let's get into the transfer. So, live in a new age where most of the stuff is digital. I think this was shot digitally. I'm not 100% certain. Like I said, it's got that comic book flair, that James Gunn flair, the vivid colors, the nice HDR. This is one of those rare WB Warner Brother releases where they actually give you Dolby Vision. So, and that's rare these days when it comes to Dolby Vision stuff. So, with Warner Brothers anyway, they typically only do HDR10. But I thought it looked fantastic. I thought it looked great. No complaints there. I don't really have a negative thing to say about it. Um, Now, to me, again, like I've said countless times before, to me, it's not going to win like an award for like best 4K of the year, but it does its job as a great popcorn action comic book flick. So I would definitely say that. You do get Dolby Atmos, which I felt like the Dolby Atmos was amazing for this film. I thought everything sounded fantastic. It had really nice LFE, nice boomy bass. You got nice surrounds, especially the fight with the kaiju. I thought that was pretty amazing in this film as well. The times of Superman would actually fly, and it has those up close shots of his face. Those scenes sounded fantastic. So, um, would I recommend this? Now, this I will say this. If you are a fan of DC movies, pick this up. If you're a fan of comic book movies, I will say stream it first and make your decision on that. To me, this was worth every penny. Mainly because again, I don't take comic book movies seriously like the next person. I don't look for things to bicker and complain about when it comes to comic book movies. But I thought this is a very solid entry, and it's got me pretty excited to see what James Gunn has got in store for the rest of the DC universe. So, with all that being said, that is the review for Superman. And if you guys like my reviews or like this review, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. And if you guys like, tell me down below, man. Like, I want to know some things. Like, what's your favorite Superman? Who did you grow up liking the most? I will tell you right off the back end that mine personally was the Christopher Reeve Superman, but then I also like I said before, I like Zack Snyder's Superman as well, regardless of all the controversy that may have ensued on that. Again, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. So, but yeah, until next time, guys, I will talk to you guys later. Peace.